Good evening, SBC. Good evening, SBCC. Even good evening, BSL. And good evening to everyone, north, south, east, west, in the kitchen, in the garage, in the bathroom, in the attic, in the basement, at the drugstore, and even at the ER. This is the October 18th, 2002 edition of SBC Tuesday Talk. And I am your host and head cook and head driver and van driver, Mr. Mike Walker. Glad to have each and every one of y'all with us today. We have a loaded potato of a show tonight, so just sit back, have your snacks ready, have your juice or other libation ready, and even have your nerve pills ready. So we got a lot to talk about this evening. But first, as you know, as always, we'll do some salutations. So we'll just start off. Mr. Wilbanks from Alabama, from Bessemer. Good evening to all. Thank you so much for being here. Jenna from the ATL. Always great to have you here. Karen Guthrie Pratt. Good evening. Glad to have you here. Theodora. Always a pleasure to have you here. Let me see. Deanna Lewis. Always great to have you here. Teresa Jones, as always, we're glad to have you here. Sherry Turner from H-Town, always good to have you here with us. Annette Price from up north, always great to have you here. Here we go. Tarla from Georgia, glad to have you here with us. Margaret from Pennsylvania, great to have you with us here tonight. Kitty McCat, nice to see you. Nice seeing you here in these parts. Andrea Silva, glad to have you here. Jewel Mendoza, always great to have you here. We got a lot of y'all showing up. Lorraine Robinson, good to have you here. Regina Lauer, glad to see you back. Always glad to have you here. Queen Chas, great to have you here. Great to have you here. April, good to have you here this night. Glad to have you here.
What you mean by I'm up north, always great to have you here. How about a web search for it?
I talk so loud that I set Siri off. Ain't that nothing? Ain't that? We got one more. We got one more. Glad to have you here, Sean. And Eric James, good to have you here, sir. Okay. Without further ado, let's bring out, my co-host for tonight. Co-host, we both co-hosting tonight. Shell from the Garden State. How are you doing this Tuesday evening?
Good evening. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Ready to dive in?
Yeah, we got. Well, let's get ready to dive in, shall we? We'll
We
start off
shall.
with we'll start off with our first topic. Guess what? If I can find the first topic, let's start with the first topic. Is it a red flag, or are your standards too high? Ah, this topic stemmed from a conversation between myself and my nephew last week. We was talking about relationships and how it's hard to maintain a relationship or even find a good relationship. And I brought up the fact that there's so many red flags out there that make you not want to, try something. And him, in his young wisdom, said, well, maybe it's not so much red flags, but maybe our standards may be a bit too high. I said, you know what? I might talk about this next Tuesday. So there you have it. That's how we got to this point. Is it a red flag, studio audience, or are your standards a bit too high? Because sometimes I have standards, but sometimes I use them maybe inadvertently as a red flag. I'm trying to think of something. What she eat, Oh, that's a red flag to me. Well, or maybe you just don't like what she eat and you consider that a standard. Uh, Shell, what say you?
Just from what you said, for you, it could be a red flag, right? So I think there are overall red flags, right? So if someone um, cannot control their anger, right? And they
Mm,
lash out, they're physically
mm-hmm,
angry towards people, right?
mm-hmm,
They get upset quickly.
mm-hmm,
Um, if they are constantly gaslighting or showing narcissistic behavior, I think those are overall red flags. But I think there are also personal red flags, right? Red flags that come from your personal experience, your personal trauma, things of that nature. So they will set off for you if you
mm-hmm,
see them in another person. Because for you
mm-hmm,
and your experience, you're thinking back, oh, I've seen this behavior before. And it caused A, B, and C. Is that always fair? No.
mm-hmm,
But that's how we go forward, right? We experience
mm-hmm.
things, we learn things from those experience, and it changes how we deal with people going forward. So I think that there are universal red flags, but I do think that there are personalized red flags. And it doesn't always even necessarily have to be a standard
Mm,
per se. It's just for you, that particular behavior, that particular thing is a trigger for you. And it puts you on high alert to look like, wait, hold on,
mm-hmm,
wait a minute,
mm-hmm.
let me look a little further, let me look a little deeper. So that's my opinion. I think there are some universal, no matter, no matter who it is.
And you brought up something about what quick anger or anger issues. And some people are quick at anger. That does this necessarily mean that they are a bad choice or a bad person? I don't want to deal with someone who snaps all the time. You know, some people would consider that a red flag, but then some people may say, hey, they just wound up too tight. So,
But then again,
hmm,
so being a red flag doesn't mean that that person's a bad person either.
hmm,
One doesn't
okay,
equate to the other.
hmm,
and and a red flag doesn't necessarily indicate that that's something that you personally can't put up with, but it
hmm,
is an indicator. Like you said, people would say, oh yeah, they're high strung and they do pop off quick, but that's not a big deal for me.
hmm,
It is a red flag. A red flag is something that slows you down and says stop, look,
hmm.
dig deeper, make a decision.
Stop, drop, and roll. That
Yeah,
what they used to teach. That what they used to
yeah.
teach us. Let me see what the studio audience got to say. We got some right here. Serena Perez says standards can never be too high. I kind of disagree with that
I
right there.
disagree as well.
I disagree with that right there.
I disagree as well.
Because you can't lower the bar because if you, I don't know, can never be too high. You can raise it up so high.
Nobody can reach it.
Yeah, no one can reach it.
Yeah, yeah, they can be too high. Standards can be too high if
Wow.
they can.
Wow, being choosy and all that, and standards can never be too high.
Yeah,
Plus, you got to understand: do you meet those standards you require for everybody else, though?
and not only that, right? That goes back to there are non-negotiables. There are certain things that are non-negotiables, and then there are preferences, and
Hmm.
knowing the difference.
Yeah, and people need to have stand, and
Yes, everybody
we
needs to have
should,
standards, but they can be too high as well.
Yeah, that's true. Deanna Lewis says, "Can it be both?" As in, she referring to the standards and high standards and red flags. Yeah, it can be, but it depends on what it is, though. You know,
Yeah, I would need more information to make a comment on that one.
yeah, yeah. Now, brother Isaac, glad to have you, here, bro. Ike. High standards are never a red flag.
No, I don't think high
I
standards
just,
are a red flag. I think that being unwilling to compromise on certain things, right? Because I've definitely heard women say that, you know, their standards include things like their ears can't be too big. And I
mm-hmm,
looked at her and I was like, So if emotionally he's available and there for you,
Mm-hmm.
if he's spiritually where you want him to be,
Mm-hmm.
all those other things are there, but his ears are too big, girl, I can't have a man with ears too big. That your standards are too high. You're doing too much. You're doing too much.
I mean, you can let some things slide. I mean, what big ears gonna? I don't know. I don't know. It does. I like big ears on a woman, to be honest with you. Run the Keith said, "I don't think standards can be too high, as long as you yourself can back things up." I just, yeah, thank you. You know, you can't sit up there and say, "Ask for this," and you're that. That's kind of whack, don't you think? You know, like crack. Crack is whack. You can think of anything because the two things are not the same. Hmm. Depends on what you're talking about, though. It all depends. Kitty says, I don't think one's standards can necessarily be too high. They can be unrealistic. Someone not meeting your standards doesn't mean they are exhibiting red flags. And that is true. And some people tend to mistake the two. So
Agreed.
some people tend to mistake the two. And you have to take a what is it, a self inventory and see, and what am I doing wrong? You know, do I view these as red flags because of my standards? You know, and I know it. I'll be honest with you. Now that I'm thinking about it right now, I think I've been guilty of that.
Really.
I think I've been guilty of that.
And it's funny because to me, I don't equate red flags with standards. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I found the opposite. I've made excuses for red flags
Mm-hmm.
and then compromised my standards.
How did you compromise your statement?
So accepting behaviors
Mm-hmm.
that went against my standards for how I should be treated.
I hear you. I hear you, Sister Hall. I hear you, Sister Hall. Serena Perry says, it seems to me you are not healed from previous experience if you are triggered by it. I don't think triggered and healing can, there's things you can be healed from,
Absolutely.
and it won't necessarily be called a trigger. It'll maybe just bring back to your remembrance. You know.
Because experiences, but think about it, experiences are supposed to better equip you
Mm-hmm.
to recognize and deal with similar
Mm-hmm.
situations going
Mm-hmm.
forward, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's just like as a child, you touch a hot stove, you learn you need to be careful around stoves, right?
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
it better equips you the next time you're near a stove to be more cautious. So it's not always triggering and it doesn't always indicate that you haven't healed.
Mm-hmm.
It really doesn't. You can be healed, like you said, and still carry the knowledge
Yes,
so
yeah.
that you make better choices going forward for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Though you sometimes it's not good to forget certain things. Hey, I shouldn't eat a pound of crab by myself. Well, remember that next time. you know, that just, here we go. It can be a defense mechanism. Might be. Patricia Crawley from Jefferson County, I'm not lowering my standards. If I deem it a red flag, I'm treading carefully because who people show you who they are, they normally are.
You shouldn't lower your standards.
Mm-hmm.
Those are your standards. You shouldn't lower your standards. You're the only one that can make the determination if they're reasonable for you.
And I was watching something. I think that situation with James Corden of the Late Show. Uh, he was in the restaurant in New York City, and he acted like a complete jerk. Treated the wait staff bad and everything.
Wow.
But yeah, to the point where the owner has barred him from ever attending the restaurant. It's on
Not
the
Mr.
news.
Jolly Man on late
Yeah,
night TV.
I've heard stories about him
Wow.
that he could be a real horse's ass at times.
Wow.
I've really heard that though. Yeah, y'all look it up. So you can look. But my point in bringing that up is look at how they treat other people, not just wait staff. Look at how they treat other people because they might be treating you good because guess what? They trying to get with you, and then time they feel that they got you, then they just take that mask off. This is the real me. That's what happened. So, okay. Thank you, Patricia. Bro Marcus, standards are super important. It is not too high, too low. It is a matter of listening to their potential mates' likes and dislikes. I don't know if I could compare the two. Or can you
No,
reconcile
because
the
likes and a person's likes and
two?
dislikes, what does that have to do with your standards?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't, I guess I don't, I'm not making the
Well, well,
correlation.
well, I think he might be thinking, and I'm just using my mind reading powers tonight. Like, she might like trap music, and he doesn't. And he associate trap music with, I'm just using this for an example, drugs or gang activity or whatever. Maybe. I'm just using that for an example. That might
And
be a
that
bad.
that goes against his standards. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Mhm. I'm just guessing, Marcus. Don't beat me up. Please don't. Sean says both. I think it's on a case by case basis. We did say that's subjective. There isn't anything wrong with having standards, but we don't want to confuse standards with red flags.
I agree. Everybody should have standards, and you're right. We shouldn't confuse. I agree with that statement.
Sydney from the West Coast have healthy boundaries and deal breakers that you won't put up with. Ignoring red flags just lead to problems and heartache later on. Don't fall in love with potential. Ooh. If there are problems during dating, it could get worse if you ignore red flags.
She done said a mouthful. Ma'am, I salute you. Yes, all of that. All of that. All of it.
All of that.
All of it.
Bro Ike says, I disagree. My standards are my standards. I meet every standard that I require. Okay, and that's
And that's my question. What do you disagree with? Because we're saying standards are good and you should have your standards. You should stick by your standards. So it almost sounds like we're saying the same thing in different ways. So I'd like to know, Isaac, what is it that you disagree with?
Yeah, please let us know in the comment section. Tiffany says standards are necessary and should be the things that you need to be stable. This does not include a 6-figure job, 6 feet 4 inches, etc. But the things that you truly need to be stable in a relationship. So that's pretty interesting. I'm glad you said all that. That brings us to our first video of the night. You know that. We got to have a video. Y'all pay attention and listen to this. Don't look like that, Shell. Y'all listen.
Because it's interesting because there's so many girls that say like 6 feet, 6 figures, 6 inches.
Yeah.
But there's not men that are average saying I deserve a Victoria's Secret
Yeah,
model.
because you're realistic.
Yeah, well, I think reality hits men harder than women. Women, whenever men have a standard, they're shamed for it. So like if they say I want thin chicks, they'll say fat shaming. They'll say I don't want to date a girl that's been ran through. It's slut shaming. Where women, if we have a standard, we're praised for it.
Rather interesting. I'm tuned to that tonight. What do you think, Shell? What do you think?
I think that on the surface, in theory, right, what she's saying sounds good, but I just have way too many male friends that I've spoken to that have told me that even my male friends that like big girls, I like them big, but they can't be too big. They can't be over 350. And I want them to have a big butt and thighs, but no gut. And she can't be too dark. And she can't be taller than me. And she got to make this, because when I'm ready to do this, she got to be able to do that. And I mean, they freely give their what they want. And it sounds very similar to the females that I've heard saying he got to be over 6, just like she said, he's got to be over 6 feet. He's got to make this amount of money. He's got to drive that car. And perhaps it's true that many men don't speak it as freely as women in mixed audiences. Oh, but they definitely, if they feel comfortable with you, if you one of the homies, oh, I've heard it all. I have heard it all. She too dark. Her hair's too nasty. I love a weave. I want natural hair. I'm not her boobs are too small. That her butt's too little. My woman gotta have this. My woman gotta have. They do. And it's, I mean, but it's no different.
But they're not dragged through the cold. We're not dragged through the coals like that.
No, because men choose to say it. I feel like in more safe spaces where women are very vocal usually about what they want. Men, I think, are more selective when they talk like that. So on one hand, I think she's right. They know that if they do it in a broad audience, they may catch heat. But it's not that they don't have it, and it's not even that they don't communicate it. And you can tell me, because again, I'm not a man, although my male friends have spoken freely to me, but male to male, do you not hear those types of things? Okay.
Absolutely.
Then it's happening. It's not that men don't do it. Men just know when it's safe to share it.
And I never thought about that, about not so much what we say, because I know I've said the things you said, but I never really thought about a safe space to say it at. I never really thought about that. I never announced that in the group. Hey, I want her to look like this or that. No, I never really said that.
No, because she was right on that, because in the group, dudes and in groups, and I've seen it, dudes that just come out and say, she can't be over 200 pounds. She can't be, she's right. That young lady is right. He would be torn down and talked about and all that other stuff. But it doesn't mean that he doesn't think it or feel it. He's just not going to, he knows where he can say it.
Okay. We got these little ones. We got these. Yes, we got a lot of them. I agree, Mike. Okay. Well, we got a lot of good comments in here. Love is with the gift, not love with the gift, but not the rapping. That's pretty deep right there. And looks fade, and what's in the heart that lasts. And she said something else right here. Sydney said, my pastor says while you're busy looking for a 10, you pass up a lot of wonderful 7, 8s, and 9s.
Look, she's right. But not only that, what is it? Who is it that the Lord would have you with, right? Because a lot of times we don't really even know what we need. We don't really know what we need, because we don't know 100% where we're going, right? The Lord knows what we need to complement us to do the work he needs us to do in the future, and who that partner to travel that road is. And it's not always going to meet all your preferences.
And Eric James just pretty much said what you just said. We prioritize the exterior, but we forgot what's necessary with a marriage.
Exactly.
He said that.
Exactly.
Kitty says, and we're gonna move on, because some preferences for men and women are not deemed acceptable. So people hide certain preferences and don't speak them publicly because they know they will face backlash.
Exactly, Kitty. Exactly.
That's something to think about right there. And Sean says, to me, standards are tied to values, whereas preferences are tied to anything else outside that. For example, the physical. So
that's true.
And Tala says exactly, we put looks over value. And I got to read what Tiffany says. And that scale to 10 is based on the person rating. What one consider a 10 may be a 5 to some. True that. A nasty attitude takes you to a 1 or 2 in my book.
Exactly.
Exactly. There's this woman I've known a long time, She always expressed interest in me. And if I was going to use the body rating, she would easily be a 9.5 to a 10. Easy. For her personality.
Ooh.
Ooh, the person I couldn't put up with it.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes a big difference.
Oh, it does.
That makes a big difference. Well, that's that. Shell, you ready to move on?
Sure.
Sure, okay. But before you move on, you know what? Please like, subscribe, and share. Okay. Up next, and this is kind of a good segue right here. How many independent sisters we have in the audience? How many independent women do you have we have in the audience? Sisters, do you consider yourself an independent woman? And now I can wait and shell. You carry things on your own. You handle yours. As long as I've known you, you handled yours. You took care of yours. Are you an independent woman? Or do you consider yourself an independent woman?
I don't want to be independent, Mike. I don't want to be independent.
You might. Good answer. Oh boy, you something else, shit. What is your definition? Oh boy, I think I just said it could be subjective though. I think a woman that handles her own with needing little to no help.
Asking for no help.
Asking for no help.
Asking for no help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Sis Chapman says she's one. April says she's one. Sydney says she's one. Let me see. Absolutely. Yes, Sis Thompson. Ooh, wait, hold on. Y'all coming in fast. Charlita says, I'm independent by force, not by
Charlita.
choice. Uh-oh.
Charlita, here we go.
Uh-oh.
Ma'am, here we go. We here.
Kitty says, I don't want to be independent. Okay. Kay says, sir, sometimes to a fault. Rather have a partner, though, for sure. I'm trying to get to. I'm an independent woman, but do I want to be? I feel like I've been forced to do this.
Come through, Jewel. Come through. Through.
That's the second. Well, I count you. That's 3 times. That's something to think about right there. Might be 4. Patricia said, I've been widowed 17 years, independent now, and was before I was married. Yes. Teresa Jones says, yes. Karen says, I am self-sufficient and independent, but by circumstance and not by personal preference. These some good answers, Shell.
Come on. Look, I'm like, yes, some of my sisters, they are breaking it down.
They breaking it down, y'all. Sheila from Jefferson County, from Beham Metro. I handle mine, but I depend on others to help out when needed and pay them well. That's a good way to look at it. And Andrea says, independent woman, yes, but interdependent is the goal.
I need her to speak on that. You said it.
Y'all coming in.
Hot.
Y'all coming in hard tonight. Take care of my Sherry says, take care of myself, but like to have a partner to share with one another. Okay, Patricia, but love waiting to have someone to share my independence with. Kitty says, I'm looking forward to being independent. Okay. Forced how? Kitty wants an explanation.
Give it to her.
I'm talking about forced how. Each one is different, though. Each one,
But I think there's a good explanation.
I think Jewel might be saying it. Our circumstances have made us to be independent, but truthfully, I want a partner to share with. Mm, okay. Sean, independent, not by choice. Oh, y'all coming in. Tara says, I'm independent from the world and can take it business, but dependent on God and the mate God has for me. Tiffany Murphy says, able to hold me up, but looking forward to having someone to ride the roller coaster of life with. Okay, Shell,
Play it.
it's been established. It's been established that we have some independent women, some that not by choice, and some choose to be so. Okay. Y'all wondering why we getting to this point. Shell know, and I know. So sit back and listen to this.
Please do not address me as a strong, independent Black woman. It's not a compliment. I never hear a man that is raising children alone say, I'm mom and dad. He never becomes overly feminine because he's raising children. But we as women become overly masculine because we are raising children, because I'm mom and dad and I got to do all these things, right? And now I put extra stuff on me and then I say, ain't nobody helping me. Well, nobody told you to do that. There is help available, all because I was trying to overcompensate for what daddy wasn't doing. I didn't have to be mom and dad. Now they got Mr. Chris and Mr. Eric over here. And I took them to be a part of different organizations because when you think of something strong, you do not think of coming to the aid of it. So when we are looked at and walk around as strong, what we're putting out is, I do not need assistance. I don't need your help. So anytime a man says, oh, I love it, you're so strong. I said, no, I'm not strong. I'm resilient. I'm not independent. I'm interdependent because nobody ever comes to the aid of the strong person. So when I'm around men, my wrists are broke.
Interesting. And Shell brought this to my attention, which I thank you, but you obliged for it. And with that said, it's being called an independent woman an insult, especially after listening to what Sister Girl said.
Well, I mean,
Shell.
I know that one of the ladies actually said she's independent, but she's waiting for the day to be interdependent. You know, she understood, I think, the angle we were coming from and where we were getting at with that question, right? So I think that off the bat, it's been drilled into us to be that strong. But she's right. You can take care of yourself, right? And still have the desire to be interdependent, to want to be a helpmate and have a helpmate. And I don't think there's any weakness in that. There's no weakness in, yes, as she said, not strong, but resilient, right? We're resilient. We are able to take care of ourselves, but we also know and desire to have that helpmate.
Let me read what Jewel says. My ex left me with the kids. I had to be independent. I've done it well, but I have never wanted to do it. Even this Sunday, I took my sons to a Giants game. New York Giants or San Francisco Giants? Let me know. His dad never did it, but I didn't want him to miss that experience. Okay. Deanna says, I think the term strong Black woman does infer you that you don't need help. Okay. Kitty says, I never proclaimed to be an independent woman because I have no problem asking for assistance. I was never raised with that mindset. Tala says, I don't see it as an insult, but we are viewed negatively at times or labeled for being such. New York Giants. I figured that. Football. Okay. Ike says, I think women that have a strong independence must know how to release it when a man is openly assisting in. Go ahead, Shell.
I agree with him. Some, it's not all, but some women do. When you are in that role so long, you're in that role of being independent and having to do everything, you do have to learn to say, oh, wait, hold on. I do have help. Wait, I do have assistance. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be a partner, because I was in the car with a male friend and my tire was low and it was drizzling outside and it was chilly. And I pulled up to the air pump and I jumped out. And he leaned over. He said, excuse me, I'm not sitting here. You don't. And I was like, oh my gosh. I had to check me because I was just so used to having to do everything on my own. And he looked at me. He said, excuse me, I'm here. So Isaac, I agree. Some of us have to learn to step back and accept it and release that. So I thank you for saying that, because you're right. That's something I had to check myself on.
Okay. Bro Isaac, you need to come to the after party. Okay. Okay. Thank you, brother. Sheila, as a single mom, I never tried to be dad. I leaned on the men in my I learned on leaned on the men in my life to help when I needed it. My strength and endurance came from the examples of strong black men and women in my life. Jules says, I don't take it as an insult, but I don't want the negative connotation that goes with it. But should I wait for the assistance? What if it never comes? I welcome it. It's a relearning that I can't wait to experience. Okay, dokes. And well, look who's here. Punchinella. Where have you been, Sherry? Uh, it's sad that many of us just aren't used to chivalry. I'm glad to see you, Sherry. That's pretty interesting right there. Well, I consider myself a man of chivalry. I can't pronounce it. A polite man. I consider that. I open doors. When we go on date, walking on the sidewalk, I walk on the street side. I do this, I do that. Then again, maybe someone wasn't trained to do that. I don't know. Okay, here we go. Ooh, y'all coming in here strong too. I agree. I strongly dislike hearing women refer to themselves as an alpha woman. Being an alpha woman is in direct contradiction to feminism. She can be strong and handle the things we need to handle while still maintaining and walking in our role. This is why we have men wondering if we are able to submit. But sorry, I digress. You want to tackle that? You want me to get to the next comment?
I don't necessarily disagree with her.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily disagree with what she's saying.
Okay.
I do. How many times do we hear, especially now, all of these videos on IG about walking in feminine energy and being feminine and submission and women don't submit and this and there. I think that there is that thought process out there today. So I don't necessarily disagree with what she said.
Okay. Y'all coming in. Tiffany says, I'm going through that learning phase right now. Recently, I was checked to remember to be open to the help that presented itself in my life. The yielding has been hard, but in learning day by day, it's refreshing to have to say, okay. Sherry says, alpha women can be perceived as masculine. Okay. Ike says, I definitely agree with Sherry. I had to help my friends with recognizing when a man is giving chivalry. You know what I'm saying. I feel like Porky Pig up here. Okay. And Karen, where is this all sustaining help assistance supposed to come from? I would rather be independent and survive than dependent and homeless and helpless. I must be independent. However, that doesn't define my attitude toward men or make me more masculine. I personally find the C word attractive. Interesting. We got a few more. Sydney. I'm very old-fashioned and welcome a man's help. Unfortunately, I have to have my own back. Mm-hmm.
And you should. That's why she said, I'm resilient, right? She's
Mm-hmm.
not saying that you shouldn't do things for yourself and you shouldn't take care and you shouldn't. That's not the point, that you shouldn't. You should have your own back. You should. But also be open to accepting help, because I've heard, well, I'm independent. I'm a strong Black woman. I don't need help from nobody.
No. Marcus says strength and independence are two states of existence which most people in the modern world are striving toward, regardless of gender. Sherry says, I enjoy relaxing and letting a man be a man. There's nothing better. Let me see. Brother Ike says, in our prayer time, when we are seeking and asking the Lord about our mate, we must pray for God to prepare us for the mate destined for us. If I'm unprepared for my mate, I will miss and misuse what I am unprepared for. And Pastor Balders, glad to have you here tonight. When it's come to human race, a woman being called alpha is not accepted by society as a whole. In the animal kingdom, not so much. Tiffany says chivalry is super sexy, and the sad thing is some women don't want it, and some men don't know what it looks like. True that. Y'all coming?
Facts.
I know. Sheila says it's the I don't need help part that makes independent sound negative. They do not go hand in hand. Sydney says, I definitely am looking for a king and queen relationship. I hear you. And Sherry says, I love it too. Y'all came in fast tonight, didn't you?
Hot and heavy.
I know, hot and heavy. But guess what? We're going to move on. But let me take this down. We're going to move on, though. But before we move on, y'all know the drill. Please like, please subscribe, and please share. Like, subscribe, and share. Up next. Okay, and I'm talking to the people who have been married before, and maybe some people who wants to get married. Think about a romantic night with that significant other. The mood is there. Y'all ready to tear things up, so to speak. Y'all trying to get the mood started, candles going, dim lights, oils, whatever, that's trying to get the mood going, And one of the most important things is the music. Romantic music truly set the tone. But unfortunately, not everyone knows this, though. Y'all take a look.
We were in the bed one time, and we were intimate, and she claimed she didn't like the music I was playing. I was playing...
Tell them, what were you playing?
I was playing Mississippi Mass, Your Grace and Mercy.
Oh, Lord.
I saw her in, she was at church, she was getting all emotional, and so I said, well, this is a good way to incorporate this, so things started getting...
At church.
And then she said she didn't like it, so I put on The Lord Is Blessing Me. And she rolls over, and then she makes a post on Facebook, and I had to find that out at choir rehearsal.
And we laugh, and it is funny, though. But that might be a symptom of a serious problem, though. and not necessarily a sexual problem. No, serious. I mean, it is funny that maybe he been raised to the point that worldly music is bad, and he feels that sacred music should be played at all kinds of situations. Now, I don't know how he came up with Your Grace and Mercy from the Mississippi Mass Choir. I don't know how you match that up with.
Well, he said that he saw her get emotional at church when that song was played. So he thought that that would be an appropriate song. And my thing is, I don't want to sound judgy.
Go
So I
ahead.
will only speak for me.
Mm-hmm.
That would not work for me. Maybe there's someone out there. Obviously, he's one of those people, right? Maybe there are people out there that think that that is music that does it for them, turns them on, makes them hot. But baby, I ain't one of them. It's gonna be the exact opposite. It's just I just can't. Mm-mm.
What do you mean, Karen? I'm stuttering. Okay. I'm just looking at the content. Yeah, I actually saw the episode myself. I was like, oh, okay. Jenna, yeah, everybody. Tala says it's not acceptable for intimacy.
Apparently, it was for him though, Tarla. Like I would feel secure in saying that for 95% of the population, it's not gonna work. But somebody likes it, I bet. Look at him. Somebody likes it. I don't understand it.
And just imagine the whole playlist. Just, yeah, I'm looking at these comments, y'all. Yes, yes. Oh, my good friend TT. Nope, 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 absolutely not.
Mike, is
Oh,
it gonna he go follow up with take me to the kid?
uh-oh. It's in the comment section. Uh-oh. Wait, Sydney. No, no, no. Oh, y'all coming in hard with these. No. What was he thinking? Again, maybe that's how, and again, we laugh and it is funny. But oh boy. When
I'm
we were
sorry.
raised, no, you could chuckle it. It's one of those things, but when certain people are raised to reject innocent worldly music or what they consider worldly music, some people take it to an extreme though. And they think all worldly music is bad though. You know, and I've said this all the time. All secular music ain't bad, and all gospel music ain't spiritual. You just had to kind of know. Uh, wow. Yes, Kelly. See, I knew you were gonna play that. Thank you, Chap. Thank you, Sis Chapman. Hey man. Hey, oh yeah, they just cracking up over here. Tia. Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, look at this. Reginald says, there's a time and place for everything under the sun. Gospel music during the act of making love is unacceptable. I say this all the time, and I say it again. I don't know how many times I've said this. I definitely said it a lot in SBC, maybe a few times in SBCC, and maybe a few times in after parties slash Saturday night socials. But on my honeymoon night, I'm going to play the latest hits that's on the radio, on television. She and I are not going to be sitting on the edge of the bed listening to the old ship of Zion. Get on board. Okay? We're not going to sit up there and sing He's a Battle Axe. We're not going to listen to something like that. We're going to listen to slow jabs. Okay? Y'all heard this. Y'all heard this first. Yes, the Quiet Storm with the listen. Yes, for the Quiet Storm with the random commercial and gospel song. Yep. Oh, y'all coming in. There's a time and place for everything. Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah. Absolutely. And it's quite sad, to be honest. I mean, it's funny. Yeah, it is hilarious, but you can't. Yeah. Sheila, time and place, season for everything. Brother, you missed the mark. Oof, that's an understatement right there. He really wants to hear that.
Look, and he had a whole reason behind why he played it. Think about it, he had a whole reason behind why he played it.
But do you think she's thinking about your grace and mercy at that
No,
time?
you see how she was like, man, please. And but like you said, then she rolled over. She shut it down. She rolled over and then made a post on the internet about it.
And if y'all look at that woman, that is a very attractive woman. You know, what on earth made you think?
He told you what was he thinking? He
I
told you
know.
you know what I mean? She got emotional at church when they played it. So in his mind, he said, that's it right there. That's gonna get me thrown down on the bed and get it started. And it didn't.
Wait a minute. I saw something with Sydney said. If you're in the mood, you don't care what's on.
Oh, I do. No,
I
you
mean,
can't be. No, you can't be kissing my neck, touching my booty, and I hear hallelujah, salvation, and no, it does matter.
yeah, we can't be singing "What a Fellowship."
No,
You know.
I'd rather it have no music. No. Mm-mm.
Wow, we were typing the same thing. Yeah. Ooh, we got a lot of but they ain't married. Oh, okay. I thought that
She said, but ain't they married? That's what she said. But ain't
yeah,
they
yeah.
married?
Thank
Okay,
you.
so
So yeah, that's what I'm
what's the
saying.
I'm not getting the correlation, Rhonda.
You want you want slow jam. I'm like Shell 100%. Either quiet storm music or no music at all. Plain and simple. Please don't put any gospel.
No,
Please.
we gonna make our music. Stop. But it ain't gonna be
Say
that.
that. Say that.
It ain't gonna be that.
No,
We
man.
gonna make a whole symphony, but it ain't gonna be that.
I know that's right. Worship at church is not sexual. How did he even make that leap? And again,
It
he
was a
might have been
reach.
a big old reach, and maybe that's how he, yeah, and maybe that's how he was taught that not so much embrace your Christianity and being a practitioner of the Christian faith, but more so embracing religion, and that's a big difference.
Yeah.
That's a way big difference right there. And it's a certain word I'm trying not to use though, but you know, Jenna says, I would have been looking at him crazy. We worshiping, but it's not that kind of worship.
Ooh. Well, Jenna, he said she rolled over. She shut it down. She shut it all the way down.
Then play me some jazz. Ain't no words in most of that. Okay. Yeah. But I think in any time I think you not gonna be paying attention to the lyrics anyway, but regardless, being mood is not the same as being, it's a totally difference.
Mm-hmm.
Total difference. No, sir. Oh, y'all coming in here. He could have played jazz or something. Oh, yeah, of course. Here comes Bro Isaac. If we're about to get busy, I need some intimacy music. Luther, Keith, Joe, Isaac Brothers, Lenny Williams, so forth and so on. Don't bring no gospel inside the bedroom when we about to get down.
Isaac, I'm feeling that list, sir. See, Isaac knows. See that list? That list will get you thrown down on the bed. Grace and mercy is not going to get you thrown down on the bed.
Hold on.
You better get the playlist from Isaac. He knows what he's talking about.
I was just
He knows what he's talking about.
I was just checking on other stuff. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry about that. Sheila, yes, 99%. Y'all coming in here. No. She should have told him though, ensure instead. Nah,
You're
I
right.
agree.
Instead of making a post, they should have had a conversation. You're right.
I strongly agree with you on
Yeah.
that. I strongly agree. She
Yeah.
should have, if she was in love with him, all she had to do to say, honey, hey, let's try this. This is not gonna work. Instead of doing that right there
hmm
and putting all your street business out on Jump Street.
Yeah, that was childish. That was
Yeah.
childish and petty.
Yeah. Well, I don't really need any music, but gospel music ain't gonna be it. Oh boy. Let me see. He doesn't even he doesn't even know her. Otherwise, he would never have done that. Oh boy, y'all coming in on this one. He doesn't have to play Luther if he considers that worldly or pagan. Some people do, you'd be surprised. There are no words in jazz. He can play that. This guy just doesn't know how to set the mood. A combination of all of that. I still stick to what I'm saying. You can be overly religious, and plus, he doesn't know how to set the mood. So, bless his heart. You could just look at him. I don't want to play the tape again, but you could just look. I am. I'm not making fun of him, but just this continence, you could tell. Let me show this tape again. Y'all just look what I'm trying to say.
We were in the bed one time, and we were intimate, and she claimed she didn't like the music I was playing. I was playing...
Tell her, what were you playing?
I was playing Mississippi Mass, Your Grace and Mercy.
Oh, Lord.
I saw her in, she's at church, she's getting all emotional, and so I said, well, this is a good way to incorporate this, so things started getting...
At church.
And then she said she didn't like it, so I put on The Lord Is Blessing Me. And she rolls over, and then she makes a post on Facebook, and I had to find that out at choir rehearsal.
He doubled down on it, though.
And found
he changed
out
the statement and doubled down.
At choir rehearsal, y'all. He went from bad to worse with the music picks.
He doubled down with it.
Wow, folks. This has been hot, y'all. This has been hot. I got a few more comments. I put them up here. He's a prime example of being heavenly minded and no earthly good. That will hit you. I've been saying that. You got people like that. I've been saying that. He's been embracing. Apparently, I'm just speculating. He's been embracing religion, not his Christianity. World of difference. His religion, to the point where he's become legalistic. That's all I'm going to say about that. I was trying to avoid using that term though, but here it goes. Yes, the after party. Yes, yeah. Oh, that list. You know what?
Isaac.
Sherry?
I think she's talking to Isaac.
Yeah, I know. Sherry. I'm not letting you in, Sherry. Okay. Okay. He went from grace to mercy to the Lord is blessing me.
That was the only blessing he got that night.
It's more ridiculous each time I listen to him. He is and serious. Didn't crack a smile or anything. He was like, and even Joy looking at that. No, what's her name? I call her Joy. I'm thinking about it. What's her name? The judge. Star Jones.
Was that
Star
divorce?
Jones.
Was that divorce court?
Yeah, Star Jones
who ended his whole marriage, huh?
Yeah, Star Jones is now the presider, and you saw the look on her face though. So, yeah, he is definitely missing his blessing. Yes, Mike, absolutely. He should have played all that. Okay. So the choir members were laughing at him too. That's a bad way.
He probably walked in, and they probably broke out into.
I'm coming to the after party. It's going to be good. I'm going to read these last ones. Star Jones, thank you. Yeah. Oh, you going to let Sherry in. Oh, you going to let y'all. I ended too. Okay.
Kitty said I did it too.
Well, guess what? We are out of time. We are completely out of time. But before we go to the announcements, let us recognize our patrons for this month, those who are subscribers to Single Black Christians community page, and they support this television show and ministry. I don't want to call it ministry, but this endeavor, and the subscriptions are $1 a month, but really it's 99 cents a month. So, but thank you all for your support, and thank you for everything that you've done. Okay. And with that said, guess what? It is time for those pesky announcements. Coming up next at 1:30, we will have the after party. Some of y'all I'm going to let in, some of y'all I won't let in. But the link will pop up in the group at 1:30 in the groups. Make sure you click on it. But guess what? If you're not in the group, you can't come in. So let us know. If you're not in the group, you can't come in. And then on Saturday, the same thing applies. The Saturday night social starts at 10:05 p.m. Eastern time. We had a good one. We had a good conversation last Saturday. So make sure you join us, though. And if it's the Lord's will, the madness starts all over again at 9:05 p.m. Eastern time for another exciting edition of SBC Tuesday Talk. Any closing words, Sister Shell?
No, it has been a time tonight. I've really enjoyed hearing all of the different perspectives and looking forward to the after party.
Okay. We had a good time, though. I knew that we were going to have, and like you said, we didn't get to everything, which, yeah, surprise, though. Yeah, so we'll hit them next week, though. Or maybe talk about them in the after party. So if nothing else, thank y'all so much. And until next time, if it's the Lord's will, see you later, y'all.
Good night.
Let's take some time and think for a minute. What's going on? And are we with it? I got the phone call away, but if no one calls, it's another day. How can I explain to you what I feel and what is true? And how can I do my best? How do you? How do you? I hear the things that people say. Don't believe, 'cause it's not that way. I know what I'm talking about. I'm here, baby, and have no doubt. What you want from me? I can't take it.